Alright, so this is the new Google Pixel 10 Pro XL. Well, actually it's not. It's the 9, and this will all make sense in a minute. But these are the new Pixel 10 series devices, the Pixel 10, 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL and 10 Pro Fold, packing faster chips, bigger batteries, crazy zoom and loaded with all the bells and whistles you would expect from a 2025 flagship smartphone. But, and let me be clear, despite all that, Google might just have played it a little too safe this year. And there's a couple of questionable decisions they've made. Today we're going to break down what's actually new and what's not, and whether Google has hit a home run or missed the mark, giving us a shiny new box with last year's tech inside. Right, so straight off the bat, all new Pixels are rocking Google's new Tensor G5 chip, with either 12GB of RAM on the Pixel 10 and 16GB on the Pro models. Now this is a 3nm chip offering a 60% more powerful TPU, which will help with all your AI smarts that you'll see in a minute, a 34% faster average CPU for all of your things like scrolling your favourite apps, web browsing, etc. And it features an upgraded ISP or image signal processor to improve your camera performance. Now, design-wise, look. If you've seen last year's Pixels, then you've basically seen the new ones. The designs are kind of, well, the same. Now, don't get me wrong, I really like it. It's got that familiar smooth glass, horizontal camera panel, sleek, minimalist and classy. But if you're expecting some crazy new refresh, then you might feel that Google have been a little lazy, and certainly more in keeping with what Apple and Samsung have been doing over the past few years in terms of design recycling. I still feel the matte finish on the standard 10 frame and glossy on the Pro models is the wrong way round, with matte personally looking more premium to me, but I understand that is subjective. That being said, we've got some new colours, some of which I might add look absolutely gorgeous, including Obsidian, Frost, Indigo and Lemongrass on the 10, Obsidian, Porcelain, Moonstone and Jade on the 10 Pro and Pro XL, and the same latter two for the 10 Pro Fold. Now this is one of the most polished foldables I've had in my hands. The hinge is seriously smooth to operate, the build is solid with the multi-alloy steel and aerospace-grade aluminium alloy cover, and it is my preferred form factor, having that shorter, fatter 6.1-inch front display compared to many of the competitors. It feels super premium and is the first ever foldable to gain that IP68 water and dust resistance rating, which is no mean feat. But here's the talking point. It's big. The growing trend on foldable phones from the likes of Oppo and Samsung, Huawei and Honor is that they're going much more down the thin is best route. Now this new crazy thin trend is also running to standard smartphones with the likes of the S25 Edge and the rumoured upcoming iPhone 17 Air. These new Pixels aren't by any means chunky, but equally they won't win any pocketable awards. When quizzed, Google claiming they prefer to be focusing on other things currently right now. Now let's talk display, and interestingly there are some key differences across the series. The Pro and Pro XL have LTPO technology, where the refresh rate can go from 1 to 120Hz, but the standard 10 and the Fold's external screen are only 60 to 120. The inner display on that Fold is LTPO though, and all the phones in the range have Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2 cover glass. The Pixel 10 is now 3000 nits peak brightness, 3300 on the Pro and Pro XL, which is insanely bright and great for outdoor viewing. But I get it, you're probably thinking, all these new quadrillion nits brightness numbers are just a bit of a marketing tool nowadays, and how often do you really need all of that screen brightness? Maybe when you're just chilling in the garden or on a beach, but let's be honest, most of the time you're probably going to be indoors, mainly scrolling Instagram or viewing YouTube, right? But the real win here is the 1 nit minimum brightness. Now this is going to be absolutely perfect for those late night reading sessions where your eyes don't get blasted by your phone's screen and you don't keep others awake next to you. Now controversially, this super accurate display is, according to Google, the best on any smartphone. You can argue that out in the comments. Now moving on to cameras, and this is where things get really interesting, and not just because of the specs. The Pixel 10 has a new 10.8 megapixel 5x telephoto lens, and you can zoom all the way up to 20 times with minimal quality loss thanks to Google's super res zoom. You also have a 48 megapixel main with improved image stabilization and a 13 megapixel ultra wide. The Pro models do additionally give you up to a 100 times total zoom with its 48 megapixel telephoto lens. Now, that's all fine, that's great, it's flagship, but it's nothing necessarily unique. But here's the magic. And very much in keeping with Google's history of prowess, their software capabilities and use of AI is what separates them from the pack. It does a better job at making the shot appear more stabilized and can even recognize what's in the photo, whether it's a landscape or a person, etc., and tune it accordingly. And while I'm fully yet to test this, some of these long distance images look seriously impressive compared to the competition. If you're into extreme zoom for capturing faraway objects, landscapes, etc., you definitely will appreciate this capability. On top of zoom, Google claim you'll notice a host of AI-powered camera improvements, including color, focus, noise reduction, as well as on their portrait mode with better segmentation, details, and sharpness. There's an all-new camera coach, which uses Google's Gemini models baked right into the camera that can help you frame your photos better, finding the best angle and lighting for the scene that you have inside your viewfinder. It can even suggest the best modes to use when snapping your shots, and the guided frame feature can now describe what the camera is seeing. And scene descriptions can help people who are blind or low vision have more of an opportunity to independently take photos. You also have a new auto best take, which upgrades the original feature to become less manual. You take a heap of similar group photos and the phone will analyze up to 150 images in just a few seconds, looking for when each person is looking their best. It then automatically combines them into one picture. There's also an Ask Photo feature where you can ask your Pixel to fix lighting of an image or remove an object or people in the background, and it does this automatically, almost like having a personal photo editor in your pocket. And then the Add Me feature, which also has seen an improvement, can now add the photographer to even bigger groups of people so no one is left out of a photo. The Fold now allows you to view photos that you're taking in real time on one side of a split screen while you're snapping away with the other side, and you can drag and drop photos and files from one side to the other, attaching an image to a WhatsApp chat or a document to an email, multitasking how it should be. And some gaming developers have even optimized their apps to work with this folding form factor, adding game controller functionality, which I think is going to be amazing to use. I will be testing these out, of course, in much more detail in my long-term full review, so make sure you sub for that video. But Google is pushing tons of features thanks to that Tensor G5 chip. There's MagicQ, which can analyze a conversation you're having with a friend about a birthday plan, for example, and it can scan other apps like Gmail for addresses your friend may be asking for, or when you ring an airline about a booking, it will pop up with your flight information on your phone screen while you're on the phone. That's crazy talk. Again, it'd be interesting to see how this plays out in real life, because potentially it may feel a little like your phone is guessing too much, maybe what you're doing, maybe being a little bit too pushy, and you don't always want or need the information that it's giving you. Maybe might become a little counterintuitive almost, and even a little bit irritating. I'll have to fully test that again in the video to come. But there are two additional features. One is potentially insanely good, and one is maybe a little bit naughty. Firstly, voice translate is something that completely blew my mind when I first saw it working in real time in Google HQ in Paris last month. It's an AI-powered real-time language translator where you can speak to somebody who speaks in a different language. You can speak in your own language. It'll then translate what you're saying into theirs. They'll then hear what you're saying, and it'll sound like almost your voice as well, the way the AI is working. And then they'll speak in their own language, it'll translate it straight to you, sounding like it's coming directly from them. Mind blown. Now, in the examples that we experienced, there did seem like some wording wasn't 100% accurate, or certain words sounded a little bit off on the translation, but for sure the gist of the conversation was definitely there, and it sounded really authentic and presumably will only get better. And the naughty is actually a really good feature in the form of the Pixel Journal, but is this a straight rip almost of Nothing's Essential Space or Samsung's Now Brief? It's basically a private app that allows you to record your thoughts and progress of goals, and as I said, it's a good idea, but whose idea was it? Anywho, Let's talk battery. The Pixel 10's got a 4970 mAh cell, 4870 mAh on the Pro, 5200 on the Pro XL, and 5015 on the Fold. But interestingly, there are discrepancies on charging speed and charging wattage. Only the Pixel 10 Pro XL has 45 watt capabilities, with the 10, 10 Pro, and 10 Pro Fold all 30 watts. And what that really means in real world use is you'll get around 70% charge in 30 minutes on the XL compared to only around 55 on the others. And actually, Google claimed 50% on the Fold. Now this is quite rare, and I'm not entirely sure on the thinking behind this. The Pixel 10 Pro, Pro XL and Fold are stacked with some awesome features. Great cameras, top chip performance, and AI that's actually useful. You will also get all of your important security features like a VPN by Google, end-to-end security designed by Google, anti-malware and anti-phishing protection, spam protection in Google Phone and Messages, and all, I believe, at no extra cost. But let me know what you think in the comments. Did Google knock this out of the park, or are they just rehashing last year's models with a new number? And as I said, I will be doing a much greater in-depth video to discuss all of these things and whether it is indeed worth upgrading from the 9 series, whether they're better than the latest iPhones, and much more. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to be notified when that video drops. My name's Adam, I love you and leave you. I'll see you in the next one. Says BYT, peace out.